Hi, everybody. Summer Games Fest 2024. Jeff Keighley seems like an all right guy. It's a more Hollywood like E3, which means it's very supportive, if not a little self congratulatory. Generally, though, a pretty good vibe. Usually boring because, unlike the rest of our lives, it has not been algorithmically tailored to us, which is probably a good thing in the long run. And because there are so many disparate styles and genres and scales of games to cover, I thought I'd give you the rundown you need in hopefully less than 10 minutes so that you can, with little effort as possible, choose the trailers you want to see and sit through and expend your life essence on. Because I have sacrificed my life essence to watch all of them, all 2 hours, for you without any self interest. And away we go. First game. Hard thing in a presentation. Like, what is the game we're going to start with? You want something exciting. First game, however, Horizon Lego. Kind of getting sick of the franchises nonsense. I think the real only story here is that Nintendo Switch, so Sony and Nintendo getting together. Interesting. Next game, No Room in Hell, co-op zombie shooter. Looks fun. I think the compelling thing here maybe is that you have to find each other, but once again, we find out so little. Who really knows? Quidditch Champions. Okay. Feels like a career mode Madden, but for Quidditch. Man, that franchise is rife with issues right now. Cuff Bust. New indie developer. I like at this Games Fest that they're really trying to push indie developers. Single developer looks kind of funny. I always think like it's amazing how much you can get away with if your characters are cute animals. Fun. I don't really have 20 friends to play it with. I do appreciate that he was smoking a J like a teddy bear on a beach. Star Wars Outlaws. I think it was a trailer for a trailer. It's in the end probably going to be a good, not great game. I mean, I'll play it. You know, great universe. I'm a sucker for third person games, whatever. Next game, Neva. It's a beautiful little nugget game. I gotta tell you something though. If that nugget gets hurt or killed, I'll have a problem with that game. You kill me first before you kill my nugget. Civ 7. As I was watching, I was like, what the f is this? Because it was just like all these eras in history, and I was like, duh, it's Civ. It just makes me bored. I understand why it's cool. Listen, Sid Meier looks old though. You know what I mean? Sid Meier's like an old man now, which is feels ironic for Civ. But if it's your thing, you'll love it. Black Myth Wukong. I'm stoked about this game. I don't think any game has actually given me legit From Software vibes other than this. A lot of Souls-like, but this one, call it a hunch. Probably awesome. So I'm always stoked to see it. Can't wait to play it. Next, Wrath of Asgard. States that's the best VR game ever made. That's a bold claim, though. I want to say best VR game. What about Half-Life Alyx? Anyways, whatever. Game Once Human. It's a multiplayer something. I don't know. I couldn't really tell. Warhammer Space Marine. Warhammer games. If you like Gears of War-y kind of third person Halo-y kind of shooter games, I'm sure you're like very excited about this. The Warhammer universe looks interesting to me. I have not partaken. I gotta say it looks good though. Like it looks fun, kinetic, like Doom shooting kind of things, except not FPS. I'm interested. I don't usually play those kinds of games. If you like group shooting parties, it's for you. Metaphor. Listen, I love Persona games. I just think it can't really fail. You know, I think it's funny that all the Japanese devs come out and they always copy Kojima's outfit, but, you know, for the most part, I think the game will be good. almost guaranteed. I doubt that I'll be able to do laundry or make curry in it, which is kind of a bummer to me. But I think I'll also probably put 200 hours into it. So, um, part of me wants to not see anymore. I think it's funny also that you have a bunch of jobs that you have to do. No, the jobs are your personas in this. I don't understand yet, but I'm intrigued. I think one's like an accountant. I don't know what his powers are. Batman VR 2. That's not the name of it, but that's what I wrote down. It's Batman. Everyone's like, ooh, Return to Arkham. It's a meta game. I just, yeah, you know? And then it did have a 1990s feeling trailer. Um, but people who would feel connected to that are all old and get nauseated with VR. I don't know that that's going to hit on the audience. Street Fighter, adding new characters. I don't play these kinds of fighting games anymore. I used to when Street Fighter was pixel art. It looks really good though. The characters look fun. Capcom can't fail, it seems, right now. So if you're into fighters, of course you're excited about those 4 new characters. Next game was called Tears of Metal, which I think I like that name. Feels like Dynasty Warriors. It's like, but it's also like a roguelite hack and slash, they said. I don't know. I just feel like the loop of those games is boring, but like I get it if you like to just tear through tons of enemies like an old God of War game or something. Sparking Zero is the next game. Love the scale of it. It looks fun. I think it's one of those games though, and this is not an insult to it, that I would probably play around with it if it was on PS Plus or Game Pass. You know what I mean? If I keep either of those services, I would probably check it out for the hell of it. Delta Force Hawk Ops. I heard the title and I was trying to write it down. I was like, what is it? Delta Force Hawk Ops. There's this one part in the trailer where they're like looking like they're going to shoot each other, but they're like a foot away from each other. That's like too close to shoot guns. So that's a minor complaint I have. My issue is that combat simulators are just not divorced enough from reality. Like if we were living in a time period where people still weren't using these kinds of guns and going to real wars, like a World War II game, I don't feel like, well, too soon, but this kind of stuff, not really for me. And then there's like a Black Hawk Down part of it that you can buy, and that's already real history and a movie. It's another one of those franchise things. Like, I don't need more Black Hawk Down. Do you need more Black Hawk Down? I don't need more Black Hawk Down. Fatal Fury. Another fun 90s kind of feeling ad, and also kind of a retro game. I will say this about all these new fighters. I think it would kill if somebody just actually did pixel art again for one of these. 2D, Street Fighter 2 Alpha kind of stuff. Capcom versus Marvel versus Capcom kind of thing. Anybody want to try that? Like, why don't we try that? Anyways, all right. And then after that was a Dolby ad? Like a Dolby Atmos ad with Halo characters, which nobody cared about. Everybody went and got a snack, and like, yeah, Dolby would be cool. Who has a good Dolby setup? I don't know. I have a bad one. And then there was a Samsung commercial, which I don't know. I guess to Jeff Keighley's defense, I guess you need to pay for it somehow. I don't know who's paying. I don't understand how this thing works. So fine, Samsung has things you can look at. Next game, Battle Crush. That just looked like a mashup of like things that have been popular over the last 5 years. It's not my kind of party, and I got no sense of what it was that was different than anything I've ever seen. That sounds really insulting, and I do kind of feel that way. Next game, Mecha Break. Cool mecha designs. Reminds me a little of Zone of the Enders, Armored Core. Does have online multiplayer, so I could see where this could really take if people felt like the combat in a mecha was like fun, kinetic, and a bunch of people wanted to do it. Then Blumhouse Films came out I think I don't have a huge issue with all the like film and film companies and games getting together. The lo-fi horror vibes were very interesting right away. Um, I'm not like Bloomhouse Films is the greatest horror company of all time, so I'm hoping the games are actually better than the movies. But I will say that I love a horror game. I love a lo-fi game that's actually well designed. It looked like a bunch of different types. I'm kind of stoked for it. Power Rangers beat 'em up. I'll play that shit. It's like Turtles. The new Turtles are like Scott Pilgrim. There's like an on rails part. It's Hasbro Retro Arcade. Okay. Next game, Deer and Boy. Adorable, sad game. Really capturing the feel that I have when I'm most sorrowful, which I'm not sure I want to indulge in. Kind of had Mononoke vibes. That deer, again, that deer better not die. Stop killing animals in movies and games. Stop it. No one likes it. Nobody likes it. It's it's traumatic for us. You understand? So don't. Next game, Kingdom Come 2. God disposes. That was a line that stuck out to me. It has personality. Still not sure I want a sim that makes me monitor my hydration levels, you know? But it does feel surprisingly specific for an historical game. I just don't think it's for me. It looks good. It's like Skyrim if it was like no dragons and your like sword got nicked and you're like, oh my, I need the blacksmith. Slitterhead, body in a trash can. Feels like it's always a naked woman, which I could, we could get better at that. But I do love the idea of this game. It looks really weird and scary, and like the combat looks fun for a survival horror, which never happens. I've been interested since the first reveal of this, and I'm down. There's an evil dog at the end, which is interesting. Killer Bean. He's a bean. It looks fun. It's like goat game. I wonder if the humor is gonna land. I do wonder if the humor is gonna land. I hope it doesn't start like, you know what I mean by like smelling its own comedy farts. You know what I mean? Is that a phrase that tracks for you? It might think it's funnier than it is. Next game, Cairn. Uh, it's a French survival climber. It's a lot of realism. It said it was realistic mechanically, but the art style actually is looking good. She's very frustrated here in the trailer. She has a lot of free time. I was thinking about that with people climbing mountains. It's like you got a lot of free time. You got a lot of free time to risk your life like this. It's not for me. Wander Stop. You run a magic tea shop as a former combatant. Is it like Moonlighter? That's a very underrated game. I think she has like severe PTSD. Like I hope she can just sell tea. I think a lot of people that have gone through trauma would do like really well if they could just sell tea, you know? So I hope that for her. Game Unknown Awakening. Feels like all these games have combat where you're like fighting with a spirit entity. That's getting old for me. It doesn't feel as kinetic when something else is fighting. Then there was a Monster Hunter Stories thing. It just like flashed on screen. It looked cute. I don't know what it is. Then Capcom was like, we have a bunch of stuff on sale, so I guess buy some Capcom stuff. Then there was a game called Anatria. I thought this was the second one of another franchise, and I was totally wrong the whole time. So I didn't even know what I thought it was when I started. So I don't have much opinion other than I was confused by who made it and that it was not, in fact, a sequel. The First Descendant, it's a looter shooter. Kind of a generic sci-fi design. Feels like it lacks the personality of something like Borderlands. I guess if the combat's really good, it'll be good. Looter shooters, they're just feels like a risky genre unless you got something unique going on, But people are gonna make 1,000 of them still. What else we got? And then there's the Among Us TV show. It's made by CBS, which always feels like ishy in these things to have like a huge company like that come in and be like, "Hi, we're CBS. Here's a new show." Has a bunch of good famous voice actors. It's a cartoon. I don't know. I mean, this is like Saturday morning cartoons that are based on toys when I was a kid. Like, it could be good or it could be just an ad, like a narrative ad. So we'll see. Sonic and Shadow, these two games. The Dreamcast is dope, so I think that kind of remaking Dreamcasty Sonic 3D Sonic games is promising if you're into it. Um, Neo retro games lately, meaning like games that are trying to revive retro franchises. They've been kind of hit or miss lately. I think that it could be good, or it could be disappointing easily. One's going to be one or the other. Dune Awakening. I really like the setup of the story here. I think it's kind of fascinating that it's like a multiverse. What if this other thing happened in the Dune universe story? I think that's actually a really smart way to jump into a game franchise. I don't care about MMOs though, is the real problem for me personally. So I'm like sucked into the Dune universe with the book and the movies and stuff, but also I don't want to play an MMO. So you tell me in the comments, does it look good? If you're someone who plays MMOs, tell me if you're excited about it. Battle Aces. The anime style looked really good, almost like 90s anime, like hand drawn style, but it's an RTS. I wish I could like them like I used to, but I don't. But it does look like it could be one of those RTSs that invite new people into the genre. So again, art style looks great. The finals. New season of the finals. I didn't know there were any seasons of the finals because it's one of those games you really like if you're a competitive butthole. Which I don't. That's not a judgment. If you're a competitive butthole who likes to win all the time, you're in the right country. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a fun idea. I just don't care about it. But if you're into competitive shooters and stuff like Fortnite, you're gonna love it, maybe. And then Alan Wake, 2 Night Springs DLC. I got a couple things to say. First, Sam Lake is an actor. He's just an actor. I've known so many actors. He's wearing a tux shirt, but they are announcing a physical copy, which is good because I really hate that there's not physical copies of games anymore. Um, to Sam Lake's defense, like he's an actor, but he seems to know how to run a studio. Although it does feel like he must have like a genius programmer that is his like other half or something. But whatever. Anyways, the DLC is interesting. It's very Twin Peaks Outer Limitsy. It's weird in a good way. Jesse Faden's vocal fry is back, baby. Like we get to hear that voice again. So that's, if you like that, is good. I love Control, so don't get me wrong. Play it in another language though. Have you thought about that? Try it. It's awesome. New World Aeternum. They play Where Is a version of Where Is My Mind by the Pixies, and it is inappropriate for the look of this game. I mean, it's a generic looking game. How dare they? I really hate it when they repurpose like cool songs and like horrible versions over like horrible visuals. I am just ragging on this game and I don't know anything about it, but they should absolutely not have used that song. I have issues, obviously, with it. I'll get over it. Let's move on. Honkai Star Rail. I look at these games now as just like an announcement of what cosplaying I'm gonna see later on cosplay videos. Always good weapon designs though, so I guess there's that. And then we had Dark and Darker. I feel like I've seen people play this. Did Andy Cortez play this with friends or something like that? It's a first-person dungeon crawler. It looks kind of fun. It feels like Skyrim's dungeon stuff, but multiplayer with friends. Is it going to be repetitive? Like that's my concern with it. It like looks fun for a little while. It's another one I jump into and I feel like I get bored by. But tell me in the comments if you've played it or you think it looks good and you like this kind of thing. I think some friends could get together and have some fun chopping some skeletons up. Kunitsugami. I don't know what this is. It looked like one of those games that is it an RTS? It looks like another one of those games where like somebody they present it like you know what this is, and it's awesome. But I had never seen it before. So tell me what it is. Like, is it amazing? There was a lot of confidence in that ad, and I'm curious why. Hyperlight Breaker co-op. It looks unique. Obviously, the studio pedigree is interesting. I mean, I love Hyperlight Drifter, so that's intriguing. That could be fun with friends. That's more my kind of multiplayer game. Party Animals. That that motherfucking song almost killed me, and I wanted to kill all those cute animals as a result. And you've already heard from me. I don't want to kill any animals, so they really did a number on me. I'm not gonna play that game because of the song. So okay, and then Skate. Or a lot to unpack here. Tim Robinson, and he's phoning this in. I really like him, and he doesn't care about this ad. And the ad's like corpo shit, you know, it has a good retro tone to it. But like EA has not earned the right to make fun of corpo stuff. So that's like so gross. Right? Like, can they say that? They're not my friend. They're not like, can't like put their arm around me and be like, corporations, right? No, they're the corporation. They can't make fun of themselves like that. You couldn't punch up enough to hit yourself if you're EA. Anyways, the game's probably good. Skate's probably good. Pal World. Listen, I haven't played Pal World, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Capricorn in me would want to get into Pal World and just run the world like a dictator. But see, this is what makes me not a psycho, like some wannabe dictators. I don't get myself into situations where I want to be a dictator. Pal World is dangerous for me. I would run a little creature sweatshop so that I was number one. And that's why I don't get myself into situations where it's beneficial to me to run a sweatshop, because I'm not a psychopath. So I just don't play it. Valorant. So I was watching it and I was like, I'm so annoyed. It's another multiplayer FPS. Like, are you kidding? And then I was like, oh, this is like a super famous esports game. Valorant's funny because simultaneously I never remember what it looks like, and then I always think it looks good when I see it. I was gonna make a joke here that that's like a certain kind of car, but I couldn't think of a car that I never remember when I see it, but then I think it looks good when I see it. So in the comments, you tell me, finish that joke for me. Inside Out 2, Young Ya, voice actor. Interesting. He seems like he's good. He's got a great voice. He looked like a Hollywood star sitting in the audience there. I guess he is if he's in Inside Out 2. I don't understand how there's a video game character in a movie about people's brains unless it's the brain of a computer. I don't understand the movie. And then there was another Samsung commercial. And then there was this thing where Christina Ricci, she showed up again. We summoned her. And Ken Jeong and like all these other crazy cast members. And I was like, okay, what is all this? It's kind of funny. Funny jokes, haha. Good actors and costumes. It's a fucking mobile game called Squad Busters? Do you know this? Are you aware of this? Am I out of the loop because I thought it was a movie or something or a game, but it's a mobile game? Are we okay with this? I'm not okay with this. So that shook me up, honestly, a little bit, that we've got that many stars in a mobile game ad. It's just those moments when I'm like, oh, we're in a dystopia. And that was one of those. I was like, that's too bad that they got all those actually good actors to do a mobile game ad. Anyways. Monster Hunter Wilds. the dude who came out to announce it was not making this easy for the translator. He came out with such confidence and just like speaking so quick and animated. And I was like, it reminds me of when somebody, like, sometimes you want to lead the translator and be like, I'm going to take this easy so you can translate what I have to say. It's like once you're following someone in a car, and like some people are like, hey, like follow me, I'll make it easy. And some people just take off and are like, I hope you find me. That's what it was like. But the game, whatever. Monster Hunter is really fun. I wish there was like a little less inventory management in Monster Hunter games because I like, want to do it with friends, but I don't want to sit and like cook food, fake food, while I'm trying to talk to them. But I think some people can actually multitask through that, which is like good on you. That's kind of amazing. I can't do that. And finally, Phantom Blade Zero. Sony is third person. You know what I mean? It's like every time it's like Sony and then I'm like, so it's gonna be a third person game, and it is. It looks pretty good. It looks very similar to Stellar Blade though. I don't know. It looks fun. I'll try any Souls like if it even starts to sniff from software. So I'm like the target audience that looked and I was like, I don't see anything special, but I will try to fight that boss and I will win. Um, and that was it. After that, there was some developer stuff. There was probably some more trailers there that you can check out. Then there was Devolver Digital's thing. I'm not going to go into that. It's always funny and weird, and they always have a couple gems in there. So I would just watch that whole thing. It's short and usually humorous. But that's Summer Games Fest 2024. What I'm thinking is what is killing me.